Well, hello. Welcome to your own podcast, Kasey. Today I'm here on Beyond the Name to kind of take over and really give everyone a bit of an insight into who you are.
Welcome to Beyond the Name with me, Kasey Lee. This is a podcast for business owners presented by a multi-business owner. This podcast is all about having real conversations with business owners and people in power, answering questions and offering advice you never knew you needed. Beyond the Name connects you to the people behind the brand you see every day, the decisions you didn't know you needed to make. If you are sick of second-guessing your growth and are ready to understand how experienced business owners actually think, then this is the podcast for you.
Obviously a woman who needs no introduction, but how would you introduce yourself?
Okay, I would introduce myself as Kasey, otherwise known as Kasey Lee, or Kasey Lee Blonde Specialist, as we laughed about earlier. The first thing that I would say is that I'm a mother of two. I have two beautiful daughters, Layla and Harper, who absolutely mean the world to me. And I have been married to my husband for 10 years and been together for 20. So what do they say? You almost get less for murder. Is that what they say? 25 years? You haven't heard that saying?
No, I've been alive 25 years.
I'll take that back. Okay, then. So I've been married with my husband for longer than you've been alive. Way to go there. Make a girl feel special. No, but I have a third baby, which is my business. So it was originally my hair salon, Kasey Lee Blonde Specialist. For as long as I remember, in business, has just been in love with what I've created, clients, transformations, making people feel good, all of those things. And recently I've expanded and grown into business coaching because when I had children, I suffered from what I have now self-diagnosed myself, postnatal and anxiety and all of these things. And I had to do a lot of work on myself as a human to be a better leader and be a better mum and be a better wife and friend and just really take care of myself on a whole new level. So I then expanded and opened up a coaching space called It's Kasey Lee for women. And sometimes I feel like that's a bit rude to men, but it's definitely for men. But being myself and knowing my journey and what I've experienced, I feel deeply connected to women that are anxious and overwhelmed and the busy mom and whatever it looks like, to support them heavily.
It's very more relatable.
Yeah, right? Like I would absolutely love to support everybody, but and I will, but I would say I am a business coach to the woman who I was, who I am, all of those things. And what started off as probably more mindset and mental health has evolved into a lot of leadership and social media and boundaries and systems and processes and all of those things that I've naturally just fell into because they're the things that I do to help run my business. I also love to talk. I love to talk about myself. So my daughter tells me.
I would definitely also say you're very curious. You ask a lot of questions, and I think that is why this podcast has been a really natural progression from your coaching business. It makes sense that you would go from working with people one-on-one to wanting to provide that platform to share with people. So it is very exciting that that's something we've kind of gotten to do. I was thinking I should also say that I'm Alicia, for anyone who doesn't know, and I've kind of helped to produce
along with Paul,
yes,
behind the camera.
Thank you, you're amazing. All working together to launch something new. So what
would you like to share with everybody how late we left the salon? Was it a 13, 14, 15-hour day yesterday?
It was never ending, but honestly in a good way. I kind of didn't want it to end.
Me too, it was good.
I feel like we both got to a point where we were like, let's just keep going and smash it all out.
We're doing well.
I went home and I felt like my cup was filled more than it was empty. So that was
See, that's what you want to hear.
Yeah.
A boss as well.
You're a great boss. But yeah,
that way.
Now we get to launch this, which is super cool. Could you kind of share how you initially came up with, yes, it is the right time to launch this podcast, and how that moved into it's now the right time for us to rebrand and reset the intentions with it?
Yeah, cool. So I started business coaching, and everywhere I was sort of seeing was do a podcast. Everyone will get to sort of see an inside of you. And at the start I was like, yeah, cool. And I sort of just winged it. I hired a friend that is probably a bit more content creation and stuff. She'd done it early days. So my first sort of recording was me and her just navigating it, and me just riffing and talking shit. And I honestly didn't post a lot of them because it didn't feel that aligned. I felt like I said things that probably just wasn't aligned with who I was at that moment. And then from there, and she's amazing and I still work with her and love her, so all those things. And then actually it was my makeup artist. One of my makeup artists recommended Paul, and he turned up and he had all these cool things, and I was like, holy fuck, this is it. This is real. Like, this is a real deal. Like, this is awesome. And I reached out to a few people that I knew, and I also thought, fuck it, I'm going to reach out to a few people that have a bit of a strong personal online presence and brand, and what's the worst thing they say is no. And I started getting yeses from people, which was really exciting. And we sort of just winged it. So I had no background. I had a coach at the time that I'd hired to give me some sort of ideas, and she helped me like write the intro and stuff like that. But it felt sort of a little bit rushed. It felt like a little bit unsure, but that's all part of the journey, right? Raw and learning as you go. And moving into this year, I am going to say that it is an expensive process doing a podcast, and it isn't something that you get a financial return that's measurable.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I feel like it is here to lead into so many different avenues that you can't be like, we did this thing and it had this financial result.
And I did a haircut and I got
yes, exactly
$100, right? So it's not so much measurable. So there are lots of things that go into planning. Like, you've got to hire your producers, your people that help you make sure the day happens. You've got to pay a team to get the questions together alongside you. Like, it's not I hire a makeup artist because I then use this content to go on my social medias, and we've got to produce the reels and upload it to Spotify. Like, it's not a simple task.
That's a lot.
You don't just jump on Zoom, record and upload, right? So,
which is proving to be a bit of like a common misconception. Like, that seems to be what a lot of people have expected you're doing here, and that's not obviously I can testify that is not the case.
Not the case at all. Like, as I said, there was 6-7 hours even just last night jam-packed into making sure that this day ran successful, because we're recording a few podcasts today. That's how I like to run it. So at the end of last year, I said to Chloe before, it might have been in the middle of the year, before you were a part of our space and our team, I think I'm just going to give the podcast a rest for next year, or for at least the first 6 months. I have so much on, I'm overwhelmed, and I just need to take a breath, right? And at that time, I was sort of like, well, I've done a lot of people that I know. I like the in-person. It's very much more connected than online. And I was just like, I'm just going to park it. I'm not going to pre-book anything, as before I'd like do something pre-book. And then we connected, and this was sort of, honestly, if I'm going to be completely honest, a passion for you. And I was like, well, I'm sort of stupid not utilizing you as a person who has studied this and is passionate about this. So when Chloe was editing and like listening back to our podcasts of our previous one, she was giving me some sort of feedback, and some of the time she was saying like, I didn't really take much from that, or you were both like wandering off, and just sort of that feedback that I was getting, which also I think wanted me to put it to rest. And
again, it's, sorry to cut you off, but it comes back to that sense of like, there's no clear return. Like, yeah, there was lots of experiences and advice kind of discussed, because it has been a great podcast, but there's no clear, this is what I am taking away from it.
And it was just part of me learning, because
exactly.
I hadn't known any different. And
that's, I feel like, something you've applied to a lot of areas of your business. Like, you just have to trial everything, and you're huge on like trial testing and trial and error.
Yeah, and then trial and error, because there's no failure, because you're always learning. And the podcast still connected me with amazing people, made me create friendships, communities, all of the things. But to be honest, towards the end, it was just sort of like, it didn't excite me, and I was just posting because it was there. And I was like, okay, if I'm going back into redoing this, it needs to be very clear what I'm doing. I don't want to just launch a podcast and no one listens to it, which people aren't going to listen to it unless I'm promoting it and excited myself. And it was just so many things I was selling last year, so it felt then weird 6 weeks later to put up a reel and launch the podcast when it was 6 weeks ago. The hype felt slow and I had other things going on, right? So I was like, if I'm doing this, we need full intention behind it. And I was a bit resistant with you at the start, right? You're like, okay, let's do all these questions. Like, that's a lot of questions. Like, it's not going to work. And it's been the best day. So yeah, it was more, let's go back, be more intentional. So with that, I was like, it needs a new name. It needs more structure. It needs intention, and it needs to have fresh branding. So we did the photo shoot a couple of days ago, and we have like a special little event, which I can say we've got an event, a luncheon in a couple of weeks where we've got some pretty cool humans coming to that. So I'm very excited about rehyping it up, rebranding, and all of the things.
Yeah. And you are someone who posts so much online. Like you said, like you had all this content, you were like, I guess I've just got to kind of put it out there. But are there things that you feel like you haven't shared online yet that you really want people to know about you? Maybe if they're listening to this and this is the first thing that they've heard of you, but also maybe if they have seen some of the things you've done online that you're like, this is something that's still mine that I'm ready to share with the world, but just haven't had a space to yet.
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I am pretty open. I do share a lot. I'm not really sure in this second if there's one thing, like maybe it will come up as we keep talking, that I'm like, I want to share with everybody. People that know my story, I talk about it from being anxious and dead broke from a kitchen sink in my family rental to now a empire, right? So I've hit my first $1 million year. I have a shop fit out that's worth $500,000. I've flown all over Australia and educated. I have launched my own business coaching. I have business coached women even in other countries. I have done social media classes and hair educations, and I've hosted my first retreat last year and also my first ever networking event. So I am a busy woman. I work, honestly, a lot, which sometimes I'm like, people aren't going to want to hire you if you've worked 70 hours a week. You're supposed to be promoting stepping off the floor and boundaries and stuff like that, but I thrive off it, right?
Yeah, you pick up, like, if you ever have a gap where you could just be at home, like, you don't want to be. No. You want to pick up something new or launch a whole new podcast.
Yeah, like, I've got this idea that I just thought of in the shower this morning.
Literally.
Everybody stop what they're doing and let's fucking go.
Like, you've got full capacity to step off the floor. You pretty much, you do spend most of your week, I've noticed, doing your coaching or doing something like this or starting something new. So totally something that
I feel sorry.
Promote.
I feel a bit sorry for people when they first start working for me, because we explain to them, or like I pivot, and when I have an idea, like it's like what we're doing goal in, but I don't think anyone realizes till in the space, like, oh, we're actually really doing this. So all those hours work that I was doing, I'm just going to like stop and move. And I'm like, like stop and move. We're heading in this direction.
Literally, that's something we've definitely navigated.
So I'm lucky that Chloe has been with me for quite a long time. Yeah. She is good at that now. And I feel like you've picked it up really quick. But it happens with everything in my life. Yeah. I have calmed a lot, but I just used to have these amazing ideas. And it sounds really weird when I was in the shower, because I like to shower in the dark. Yeah. Because I'm so busy and overstimulated. So shower in the dark. I say to my clients, wash the energy down the drain. And I generally have my ideas when I'm quiet. And I'm practicing a lot more of that and other things like sitting with myself while driving.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that thing where I don't know what the first question was, and I rambled.
No, you've said lots of things that like I definitely think we should chat
about
more
me.
about.
Yeah, cool.
You kind of said some things about the way that you've had to change and you've had all of these businesses. Was there one business shift that you really realized like, oh, I need to change something about myself if I want to see this through a bit more?
Oh, there's been so many. I'm going to say more with my salon. There's been some really pivotal, say the right word for me, pivotal moments that I've had as a business owner and as a mum that I've thought that shit needs to change really quick, right? And then these things that I've noticed about myself or that I have then put in place afterwards are things that then I go and help my business owner clients with.
Yeah.
Very, very bad leader when I first started. This is still something that I always second guess myself on, that I'm not a good enough boss. I have this urge to be very direct because I feel like I need to protect everything I've built and I like things done a certain way. But then I also am like, oh, I don't want people to like me. You know, I have very bad trauma over staff leaving because it's really hard to navigate. Like you have these people in your world and you love them like they're your own family.
And can I just say, you do. Like we have chatted in the salon about how one of the things that I know a few of the, like all of us girls, including myself, love about working with you is you really want what is best for every single person. Like I can't speak for when you started the business, but now as a salon owner, like 100% I feel like you would drop everything to invest in any one of us if there was something that you could do to make sure that we all thrived in our careers.
I'll drop anything to do for any of you to make you thrive outside of your careers.
Yeah.
If you be a part of my life in any capacity, like I'm all in.
Yeah.
There's no like, you're my employee, you're my team member, you're my friend. And this is where I've struggled a lot with. So then when people leave and I then try and enforce the boundaries to protect myself and it goes to shit, I'm very fucking deeply hurt.
Yeah. Is there advice that you...
Not saying that there was no accountability that I could have taken in the whole thing. But I take it
in reflection.
Very personal.
Yeah. Is there advice that you would give to like a coaching client who struggled with that?
Struggled with a staff member leaving
or
and
taking that kind of personally, like taking a...
Yeah. So my biggest lesson is that everyone is on their own journey and it's not always about me. So there's a couple of things. So first of all, like being accountable for what you did, having perceptual positions. So being able to move into that other person and understand what their experience might have been like, which is also one of my
really good at that.
It's my best and my worst quality because sometimes I gaslight myself. And like, because I'm like, I can see how they were like this and this and this, and other people are like, no, they're just an arsehole in every movement of my life. So that's something that I do often. The other one is, everybody's on their own journey. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of the time business owners come to me and are like, this person's left. I did everything for them. I did this and this and this and this and this. And I need to step back and say, I understand what you're saying. But at the end of the day, like, this is their life and it's their journey. And although it hurts you, that they're allowed to go on their life and their journey and figure it out for themselves. And one thing that I need to learn was as well, which is a hard pill to swallow for business owners when staff leave, is looking at the good that you had with them while they were there. So rather than focusing on that last minute of, okay, that really hurt me, or they were messaging clients, or like whatever is happening with my coaching clients telling me, let's focus on the 2 years that they gave you or the 10 years that they gave you and what that did for you financially, or you're able to have a baby and they ran your space for you and all of these things. Like, that person doesn't necessarily owe you their life because you employed them for 10 years. Like, that person also gave you 10 years, right? Like, it's a partnership. And the moment that you realize everyone's on their own journey and to focus on the good, then I think it softens it. I also try and tell them in a way that they're allowed to feel that way, that how they're feeling is natural and normal.
Of course, yeah.
And just to feel it and just don't live there, right? So getting them to look at it in a different light, as in, wow, I was so lucky that I had them for this amount of time, and for this that I was able to do X, Y, Z. Yes, okay, it's never a right time when your best employee leaves or it goes pear-shaped or whatever it is, but trying to focus on the good. Every single person
you got because you had them.
Yeah, every single person that has worked for me, I don't care who's listening or what you know, I still have love for every single one. Every single,
you do.
Every single fucking person, right?
Yeah.
It could have been a work experience girl that worked for me, maybe not recently because I don't have as much to do with it, in my home salon for a couple of months. And like every single person, if they messaged me, needed me, I'd be there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how fucking dirty they did me.
That. Yeah.
Because,
that's just
I love hard.
Yeah.
That's why I hurt hard, because I love hard.
Going back to that original conversation about like who you are, when you shifted from having that one salon business to having all of these businesses where you needed to split yourself up in so many ways, was there kind of one specific moment where you were like, okay, I need to let go of like, not let go, but
do I let go?
Shift from this is my one business to no, I need to have enough of myself to give to multiple businesses.
And then come home and be a mum.
Yeah.
And recently really try and be a good wife. Yeah. Because that really slipped. There's not one moment. There was a lot of resistance behind letting go. And I know some people still think I'm a control freak and stuff like that, but I've let go a lot. There's a lot of things that I don't even oversee anymore. There's a lot of things that I'm like, my time is not used properly reading that resource or reading that. So give it to somebody else. So I hired a virtual assistant years ago, and that really helped. Mistakes are always going to happen when you rely on other people, and again, I feel everything so deeply.
Yeah.
So I like that sort of hits me hard, but I just need, like I say to anybody, like I just need that minute to process it. If you give me a minute, I'm fine. 2 minutes later, and accountability and apologizing always goes a long way. Just like, fuck, yeah, shit, I made a mistake. I accidentally sent out the wrong subject. Okay, cool, you've admitted it and you've apologized.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what I did in my first week with you.
That's what everyone's done, so it didn't relate back to you. But there's always something, because I have a certain way that I've done things for so long. So, yeah, it has been very hard to let go and all of these, but I just had to, because there's only one of me.
One moment, though, that you're proud of, that you were like, oh, that was a decision that I made because I knew I had to care for all of these businesses?
I can't pinpoint one moment. I actually... I did step off the floor and go study NLP, and that was the moment that I needed to let go of the salon.
Yeah, I think that's a great moment.
And I'm going to say it's probably not good, but it probably wasn't. I had a lot of issues for doing that. So it was a really big moment.
Issues with what?
So it was a great moment for me to go and work on myself. But I had a lot of the issues in salon from stepping off the floor, which then confirmed that I needed to still do everything. The salon really suffered, and I'm still in recovery from that period.
Right.
But now I know that I wouldn't have had all of that if I had a lot of the things in place to start this.
Okay.
Which I now have implemented.
Yeah.
And also sharing them with my clients. But yeah, it was important for me to start taking care of myself for my staff, because so many of my staff have mental health concerns, and my children. It was very important to me, and it was important to me to, again, like, help myself and my journeys, not only for them, but like for my marriage and for my friendships and for myself, because I was just so anxious.
Given that you did take that step and then kind of couldn't tell if it had paid off, or maybe felt like it hadn't paid off, do you have advice for measurables as to how someone would know when they should take that step?
So honestly, mentally, paid off, but financially it did hit hard because me not being in there with all the right things in place, it just didn't work, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a good team and stuff like that, but when things started to fall
there was nothing
fall
written
apart,
down.
I was getting slammed. So I wasn't focusing on class because I was getting slammed daily with issues that should have been able to be dealt with my staff members.
Yep.
So that's something that I am actually working on with a lot of my clients at the moment, for them to be able to step off the floor, even if it's 1, 2, 3 days, and have everything systemized and have everything there that their team members know what to do in case that, you know, the business owner doesn't want to be in that business that day or has other commitments, right?
Yeah.
Like the salon's fully operating today without me.
Yeah. Because you do have those in place now.
Because I work really hard on that and I'm constantly refining.
Yeah.
Which also keeps us all very busy.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh, I've got something better. I've got something new. Cool. Let's implement it in our salon. Let's give it to my coaching clients. And it's not just like, hey, this is what to do. It's like, okay, this is actually what I've done.
Exactly.
Here's the full framework. Implement it.
You have worked in your business. Obviously, you started off at home and your business was entirely you. And then you've kind of stepped away. But even now, you still talk about how it's hard for you to let go of those things. And you've kind of self-described a bit of like a micromanager.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. I'm a micromanager.
What has been the hardest?
She's smiling right now because she's like, I do micromanage her.
Look, I feel like I
Tiny.
could debate it, but there's no point right now.
Little bit of yes, little bit of no.
Yeah, definitely. What has been the hardest responsibility or pressure that you take on emotionally that you are trying to let go of?
I still feel like I've got my finger in every pot, so I feel like I haven't
Completely delegated.
completely let go.
Yeah.
Like I know at the end of this podcast, I'll jump through all the inboxes, I'll check all the bookings, I'll check in with all the team. Like I will never fully disconnect. But
Are you taking steps to do so, or that's not something you...
well, I have a
you'd
team
want
that
to
makes
do?
sure it's not something I want to do. I want my staff to feel like I care and I'm present. I don't want to be someone like, and everyone's allowed to do their own thing, but it's important to me that people feel that they're important to me. So if I wasn't in the salon and I had this full team operating, they're not really, I don't feel like it's my brand or anything like that. I don't want them to think like I'm here and making all these sacrifices and working and all these things and you're just having lunches, right? Like,
Right.
it's important to me to get in there and get my hands dirty as well. And I love it still.
Yeah.
So I think I do micromanage to an extent, but I've definitely relaxed a lot than I used to because I am hiring people that align. I am being specific with what I want. And although sometimes it still makes me nervous to tell people that I don't like things, I just need to know that I needed to do it because I've worked so fucking hard to create it. So if I just let that slide and it didn't hit or didn't feel right, like I've had people tell me that when I've hired people to post things, they can tell the difference between when someone's posted my coaching stuff and when I have, because it's not me speaking, like it's not from my heart.
Yeah.
So I think that's really important to me that everything about my brand represents me.
When you describe like not even wanting to step back, I'm so like, oh gosh, no, I would want to build something that I could step back from.
It's a lot of people's goals.
Yeah. Have you made any decisions, maybe online, maybe just within your business, that sparked lots of negative feedback and lots of people kind of saying, no, I wouldn't have done that?
Not to my face.
Do you have reason to believe that it was said not to your face?
Probably there's been comments from like family, like my closest people to me that I shouldn't have gone into my factory.
Yeah.
Because the home salon was thriving and the factory has a lot of overheads. But those same people that I love dearly don't understand how much the hair industry has changed. When I was in my home salon, there wasn't a thing called rent-a-chairs, really. People didn't go work for themselves. Social media was very new. The hair industry's changed a lot. It's actually really scary. I don't know if there's going to be business and business owners in like we say 5-10 years, but I'm thinking 2 to 3, right? Because it's so accessible to go and open up your own business and it's very glamorized the industry and the lifestyle now, people don't understand the work, right? Like, really, if you worked out my hourly rate to how much I actually work, I'm getting paid less than you.
Yeah.
That logs in and logs out because you can disconnect. So people are like, oh, I'm going to have this life and this luxury and earn all this money until they're then in it and they're like, oh, but it is very glamorized. So the same people that are like there was comments from some people like, why do you have to have that? Like, isn't it enough what you've got? And I'm like, but why wouldn't I have goals?
Yeah.
And I do get some feedback sometimes from people like, do you wish you still were in your home salon? Because like it has been a tough 18 months with a couple of, things that have happened in business and financially. I am at a rebuild at the moment with my hair salon. I've recently hired some new staff members, and every time I hire new staff members, I've got to rebuild because I'm not a shop or a shop front where you can just walk in and get your hair done. You can't tell what we are from outside. So everything, every single client that comes in my chair is driven through my social media, couple obviously through word of mouth, but it's me that has to show up every single day. Like the last 12 months, I've grown my Instagram, and that has been me every night at 11 o'clock at night when I should be switching off or being where I'm editing my videos to make sure I've got something to upload, to be making sure the girls have bums in their seats, because every time I hire someone new, I then have to build a whole clientele.
Exactly. Yeah.
For them.
I've been curious before. Was it an intentional decision that you can't see the shop and go, oh, I'm going to walk in? Yeah.
So I started a home business because my kids were young, and I sort of fell into it. And then I never wanted any staff, never wanted any of this, was never a goal. I was just happy. I just loved my kids. I then had a girl message me and asked to work for me. She had a bit of a following. I was quite impressed and wowed that somebody that had a little bit of a following actually wanted to work for me, or even just anyone that wanted to work for me. I didn't think I could afford her at the time. She asked for above award wage. Anyway, all happened, and it sort of just threw me in the deep end. And then I started posting online, and I started building a following. And I started getting really booked out. And with that, people drove to see me. I remember sometimes in the home salon, I'd have like a couple of staff in there. And it went from 3 mirrors to 5, 1 basin to 2 basins, to people sitting on computer chairs and waiting out the front. And it got to one point that we were charging like $300, $350. And I was like, the girl that I follow on Instagram is charging, or that I went to a workshop, was charging like $500. And I think I was just like, well, I'm fucking good.
Yeah.
And if not better. And I have a huge wait list. And I'm going to start charging
Lining out the doors in a home.
Right? Like, so my husband remembers those days, as now I'm like, a little bit more stressful. Having a team of 8, right? And girls that you're paying that aren't physically bringing in like money through the hair services. So that was fucking crazy. And I grew so fast, like within the first 3 months, I was like, I've already outgrown this space, and the power of social media. And then that was through COVID that I started looking at factories and all those things. And I spent $500,000 on a shop fit out.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That is obviously so ambitious. And when you spoke before about the negative feedback that you do get from people who just don't understand, they haven't been in that position. I kind of have that too, where I feel like a lot of the negative feedback I get is because I am so ambitious and I want all these big dreams that people think are unrealistic. I know that's something you work on with your clients, right? So what is some of the work that you do with people about not feeling guilty and wanting to go and chase their goals?
I don't really have a lot of clients, honestly, that I feel like by the time they get to me, they've already passed that. They get to me when they've already taken that step that I'm ready. So I'm their first step to chase their goals. So they're not... So
can I paraphrase? How do you work with people and encourage people to keep chasing their goals?
I'm going to say, to pick up a different truth speak, but people listening at home or haven't been on my retreat won't know what that means.
Well, tell us.
Yeah, just pivot. Like, if it doesn't work, like, try something, get feedback. If it doesn't work, pivot.
I know this is something that you work on in your coaching business, and I don't want to spoil it, But how do you know when to push through that discomfort versus how to know when it's time to pivot?
Again, feedback is one of the most important things that we learned when I was studying NLP, proper NLP, not going to do a 1-week course with scripts. Like I did fully embodied NLP with Amy Bell, who is a absolute genius wizard at her
And
craft.
what is NLP? Sorry.
Don't ask me to say what it stands for. But true me, and she describes it as different. I would describe it as having like interrupting a thought pattern or changing the way you do things. Yeah, I normally have a word that I describe it with and it's just not coming to my head. So she describes it a lot as things that you can do in business, right? But to me, it was personal development. To me, NLP was, self-awareness and, I can't think of that word that I always use to describe it. It's just not there.
Well, if it comes,
I will.
No. Yeah. Pivoting the conversation. I know, and I think we've even said that you really believe in the power of investing and spending money to make money.
Has bit me in the ass a few times.
Yeah, what's the most expensive lesson that you've had that you wouldn't want your clients to repeat?
Oh, I wouldn't. There's nothing that I wouldn't want them to repeat.
Really? Why?
Because I can see even my expensive lessons when I failed. I probably have spent $150K in business coaching, only purely for my business coaching. I've never actually had a business coach for my salon. Probably would have saved me a lot of heartache early days. Not probably, definitely would have. I've probably spent $80,000 on a hair extension range that I never really pushed because I hired a team at the time and it didn't work out, and I've more focused on hair extensions. So I do have some salons that wholesale it and we do use it very successfully in my business, but it hasn't, like I originally launched it with models and websites and paid a lot of money for a lot of stock to get in to have my own wholesale range, and I didn't have the capacity for that. So that was a huge investment. And then I spent $500,000 on a shop fit out. So like I'm really not afraid of investing, and I invest when I've got no money.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of money at the moment. Like there's in my hair salon because of investing, and this year I'm not slowing down anyway.
So even coming at a loss, you would still encourage everyone to keep investing?
No, I wouldn't encourage it. I'd obviously say to be smarter, but do I? Yes. I invest when it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to go put myself, in bankrupt or anything like that. Spend within your means. But people often, like people say to me, oh, I've got no money. And then they tell you that they've got like 10 grand sitting in their bank or 50 grand or they're going on a holiday. And I'm like, well, you do have money then. It's just not your priority. As my priority is always,
put it back.
Oh, no, I was going to say my priority is always my children.
Yes.
And my husband, and very close behind that is the success of my business.
Yeah.
I live and breathe it. From the moment I wake up to the moment I close my eyes.
I know.
It's intense energy.
It's good. All right, moving on to finishing up. What are some of your goals for this year that we can expect to see you working on?
There's a whole big vision board.
Yeah.
Hair salon, growing my team education-wise, making sure they feel supported, rebuilding that brand that was once loved and trusted, because it did get a little bit lost there for a while when I did step off and had maybe a few people that I loved. So I'm going to say I loved first, but also maybe didn't align. And so really heavily focusing on that. So not only filling all the new columns and hiring aligned staff, but making sure the team feels very confident in what they're doing. So I'm investing a lot in education this year, more than I ever have, even just like shutting down the salon and having education days, which feels a bit scary because I'm always just was fully booked, no gaps. So I'd never do that because it's sort of losing income, but I think it's just so important to pour back into your team. For business coaching, I have some big things planned, including launch this podcast, my retreats, events, social media, all of the things, education. I have some really cool people I'm actually educating with this year in my hair world. And like, I know it already feels like we've got a full year, but I know that I'm only half there. Like, I know there's going to be so much more things. And I've got some really cool collaborative brands that are already in talks of some cool things that are happening. So it's just the beginning.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Do you have one action that you could recommend people take to move towards scaling their business or opening a second business?
Definitely hire a business coach. I wish I did that for my salon a long time ago. Would have stopped a lot of failures, tears, all of those things. Like, a lot of people like, a business coach is expensive, and you're like, well, it's not, because like, I think there was a girl that said it before on one of
I was just thinking that like cost per use, and then you're using it every day, and like every decision you make, if you've had that year, pays for itself.
Yeah, right. So instead of going through all of the lows, like, if you have your first ever staff member that you have just absolutely poured your heart and soul into, right, and then they leave you and you take that personal and it crumbles you. But if you have a business coach looking at it from a different perspective, because she's already been there, done the work, all the things, and that's also with getting hate online or having a shitty client. And even to the point that I do a lot of mindset work. So I do a lot of work with my clients with good girl behavior, which is like a bit of shadow work, like trauma work from earlier days. Or I do a little bit of work with my clients with their relationships, with their partners. Or I've had business owners just hire me literally for personal development. So if you did those things at the beginning, how much more success and how quickly could you get to your goal if you had someone in your corner? So also, like, I would tell people as well to work on yourself a lot. People don't realize you don't question who you are. Like, you really question who you are when you become a business owner, because there's going to be versions of you. And same with social media. There's going to be versions of you that people make up, which it's not making up. I've had to understand that is their version of you because of their own experiences, and that version is okay. It blew my mind one day when someone said, no one in the world thinks of you the same. And the way you see yourself, not one other person views you as that exact same thing. It's like, what do you mean? So how I think everyone views me is not how people view me. No,
crazy.
Not even one.
Yeah.
Like, they could be on path with similar, but there's still different versions of you. And that's because of like how their life's been shaped and all those things. So work on yourself so fucking hard, because especially if you're going to step into a leadership role, I think that's really important.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd really like to share before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. I don't really feel like I've had these conversations with anybody before, so it's my first time getting interviewed on a podcast. Is there anything
on
else?
Your own podcast?
On my own podcast, hey?
Crazy.
Yeah. No, I think I'm good.
Well, thanks so much for being a guest on your own podcast. Do you want to wrap it up?
Thank you for joining me on my couch. If you have loved listening to a little bit about my journey and want to know more, follow me over at It's Kasey Lee on Instagram. I'm also on the salon page, which is Kasey Lee Blonde Specialist. Thank you, Paul and Alicia, for today. And
there's a lot more to know.
There's a lot more to come and a lot more to know. So
keep listening.
Stay connected. Keep listening. Cool. Thanks.